Gone Gracefully, the tragic story of Elbert and Alice Hubbard. On the 7th of May 1915, the Cunard line of the RMS Lusitania sank off the old Eddie King sail. Among the 1,198 people who died, there was one couple who became heroes of the disaster by staying on board and going down with the ship. Elbert and Alice Hubbard were travelling on the Lusitania together, where on their supposed arrival in Liverpool would conclude the first leg of their journey to Germany. Tragically, neither of them survived, and their bodies, if recovered, were never identified. The couple's love story and their journey to interview an enemy of the European nation became a cruel twist of fate, which concluded on the bottom of the sea. This is the short story of Elbert and Alice Hubbard. Elbert and Alice were married after they had a secret affair while Elbert was still married to his first wife. The love affair did result in an illegitimate daughter whom they named Miriam. After Elbert's divorce years later, the writer would continue to lead the company Roycroft Press and would publish his 1899 10-page pamphlet called A Message to Gracia, and received an honorary Master of Arts from Tufts College in Medford, Massachusetts. Alice meanwhile became an accomplished author, writing books including Justinian and Theodora, which she co-wrote with Elbert on the basis of marriage. When Elbert had the opportunity to interview Kaiser Wilhelm II while he was covering the news footage of the First World War, the Hubbards wasted no time and they booked tickets for the Cunard liner, the Lusitania, together. However, the couple saw a posted advertisement in the US newspapers on the German embassy before the ship left New York. Elbert remarked, "I have written some things that he may not have liked. If I get through safely and the German Emperor won't see me in Berlin, I'll be patient a while and see him later in St. Helena. Speaking from a strictly personal point of view, I would not mind if they did sink the ship. It might be a good thing for me. I would drown with her, and that's about the only way I could succeed in my ambition to get into the Hall of Fame. I'd be a regular hero and go right to the bottom." Throughout the voyage, Elbert and Alice were interviewed by Canadian reporter Ernest Cowper, or Jack, which was a nickname given by Elbert. Elbert wrote a diary on board the Lusitania and was said to share a plan of recreating the voyage by sharing his documentation of his and Alice's story on the Lusitania in the Philistine magazine. On one page he documented his thoughts on the ship possibly being torpedoed should it ever occur. However, there is no information to suggest the whereabouts of the notebook, and this is likely that Elbert's diary went down with the ship. As the ship was sinking, Elbert stayed by the rail while affectionately holding his arm around Alice's waist. Alice couldn't swim, and although they were afraid of the water, the couple refused to enter a lifeboat. While remaining on board, the couple bumped into Cowper and Helen Smith, who looked at their friend doubtfully. Cowper could remember Albert saying to his friend, "Well, Jack, they've got us. They're a damn sight worse than I ever thought they were." Then he shook his head before Alice said to Cowper, "There does not seem to be anything to do." Cowper was taken by surprise when he saw Albert and Alice retreat into a room on the boat deck and close the door behind them. Cowper summarised that the Hubbards planned to die together and did not want to be parted in the water. In his writings, Elbert had once philosophised, "We are here now, some day we shall go, and when we go we would like to go gracefully." The Hubbards were never seen again after their encounter with Ernest Cowper and Helen Smith. Elbert and Alice became heroes in the wake of the disaster, similar to Isidor and Ida Straus when they died in the sinking of the Titanic. However, if they had lived and gone to Germany, things could have been slightly different. It was Elbert's belief that before the Lusitania sank, he had sympathy for the Germans, but their death teaches us that we can't trust anyone no matter what side people support in times of war.